Well, it could be worse. One of us could have our top off and try and get views.
Actually, that might get us more viewers and subscribers.
I mean, if you're asking.
We're just saying that people from Leicester, if you call them historians, probably sound like they've got some sort of disease.
Name places.
Yeah.
But Evan's not joining us together.
Well, he's not here. So
He's at the rooftop party.
Yeah, with his Switch.
With his Switch. hanging out with Karen.
Yeah. Now, do we want to take bets? On what game he's been playing with all the people at the party?
One, two,
Switch.
1, 2, Switch, of course.
Yeah. I was going for snipper clips. Snipper chips.
Snipper clips. Yeah, so much fun.
We are officially live,
he's playing Overcooked by himself.
In the corner.
It's great to get into arguments with your partner over snipper clips. It's priceless. We almost fought.
Or Evan sat on the sofa with his Switch, and everyone is just behind him, watching what he's doing,
cheering him on as he.
Yeah.
As he snips his clips.
He was originally playing it with them, but then he decided, no, you guys suck. I'll do it myself.
Right. So, welcome to episode something of Pixel Pints, the only podcast that links people up from around the world to talk about two things that we love, which is good beer and video games. As you've probably guessed from us talking about Evan's not with us today. Boo-hoo. But he's entertaining people and having fun somewhere else. The bastard. Something. Oh, I remember what I was going to do to introduce this, because we are going to be talking about the Xbox Games Showcase. So this episode has been purpose-built from the middle out to be optimized for Series Y infrastructure teraflops, to bring you all the octo-Ks to your eyeballs that you could possibly ever see.
Yes.
There you go.
My body is
Good
ready.
effort.
Oh, sorry, this isn't Nintendo.
Yeah.
Right, quickly go around the room if anyone's got any beers or anything they want to talk about. Michael, welcome back. What is the background you've got? How are you?
I'm fine. It's raining outside. It's pretty much looking like what I have in the background, which is a screen grab from the Avowed trailer that was shown during the Xbox Games Showcase. It's Obsidian's Skyrim that they revealed they were working on next after Outer Worlds.
I think when Matt saw this, he may have either released a little wee or had some kind of internal combustion go on in his brain. It's like, Obsidian, Skyrim.
It was kind of like that. Unfortunately, I was at work when this was going on, so I was just listening to the audio, and then had to check Twitter at my lunch break, and was like, "Oh my God, Obsidian's making Skyrim."
Was that CGI, the trailer, or was it?
Yeah, it was just CG.
It wasn't. Yeah,
pretty much everything was CG. There were a few bits of gameplay, a few funny moments. I'll get onto those later. Dan, how's the packing going?
Yeah, good. We filled up a 40-yard skip, so that's fun. But yeah, we're out tomorrow, so we've got Monday. So we've got tomorrow just to finish off. But the room that was a mess when I sent you yesterday has cleared, and slowly but surely getting through it. What you realise is I've got so much crap that I don't actually need, and I don't know why I've hoarded onto. But the good thing was my loft wasn't very full. So I hadn't got to the stage where I'd put everything in the loft. So that was useful, because I went up there and I was like, oh my God, this could be horrendous. But actually, there was a few boxes of appliances that I actually reboxed in the box. So first time I've done that, because normally I have these boxes and I never use them again, but I actually did. So that was quite good. And today I'm drinking, I didn't realize it was this, but Disco Forklift Truck. I like the look of the can, but I missed the fact that it says mango. Mango pale ale. Interesting.
What is it with you guys and mango beers?
I had a smell of it, and I was like, "Wow, this is very, very mangoey." So yeah, and then I'm on my summer holidays, so I've got a lot of free time after I've moved to play Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm loving still, and
Me
talk about
too.
Xbox.
Liam, how's your bloodlust from Warzone subsided?
No, yeah. To be honest, I see this being a lifelong endeavour to conquer. There will always be someone who needs to be killed. Or just looks at me wrong, you know?
One thing I've learned from playing Warzone with Liam is his penchant for revenge runs strong.
Yeah.
If someone kills him, he will land in that same spot, and he will keep doing it over and over again if he can to get that person back. Matt, how's things?
Early. I don't think I got enough sleep last night, so I may be a little goofy on this episode.
You're talking to the master of not getting enough sleep, so... And it's just started absolutely tipping it down outside. One thing I forgot to say was follow us, like, subscribe. Subscribe on Twitch so we can probably get a fraction of a penny for all of your subs. And if you want to listen to us on the go, you can do using any good podcatcher, thanks to anchor.fm. And follow us on Twitter at pixel_pints, and follow our Instagram page, Pixel Pints Pod.
Heath, how are you? You always ask us,
mate.
We don't ask you.
Jesus. Yeah, no one really asks. I go around the room, no one bothers to ask me. Evan could post a picture of a pair of jeans and you lot had swooned.
I wonder what Evan is thinking right now. I just
probably
wonder.
Thinking, where's my next beer? Or do I load up Mario Kart?
He's sorry that he couldn't make it, and he wishes us to have fun.
Oh,
Won't be as much fun without him.
Strangely enough, going on the fruit beer angle, I've gone with, you can hold this in front of my face, Admonton's Passion Fruit Pale Ale.
Oh, nice. Any good?
That's it. So again, I've had this before, and it's one of the very few fruit beers that I actually really like. It's really fruity on the nose.
Is it actually passion fruit that they put in there?
It says so.
Okay.
But it's very pale, not really carbonated. Although when you pour it, it looks more like a lager, but it's settled down quite quickly.
This actually also got mango in it. It's not flavouring. It's actually got proper mango.
Yes, this has got actual passion fruit in it as well. 4.7%, so not overly strong, but when we were doing our review of Kona Golden Ale, I'd rather drink this by the beach.
Fair enough. On that note, due to my moving situation, things have been delayed, so we will do a beer review as soon as possible. But once I've actually got in my new place and I'm established, because the next few weeks are going to be pretty loosey goosey, I think, because we're going to move to temporary accommodation. Right.
Do we want to wait for Liam to come back, or should we just slag him off? And now we've got two Dans.
No, Liam's coming back, I think.
Yeah,
it looks like he's trying to reconnect.
Yeah, he's trying to reconnect.
Oh, I've got two Dans on my screen at the moment. So there was the most important summer gaming event that happened last week. It was the Google Stadia
event,
where they announced 25 games that are going to be available day and date, and no one cares.
Yeah.
What was the Stadia thing this week?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh.
There's only one person I know who has Google Stadia.
I thought it was.
I discovered this on when we watched the Xbox thing together. Otaps has Google Stadia. He announced it. He goes, "Yeah, I've wasted my money on this thing." that was quite hilarious to find out.
I mean, it's a great thing to have if you don't own a gaming PC or a console. But
Not
if
necessarily.
you do, that's
it's great if you don't have either of those things, but you have fiber internet, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
it works okay with.
I feel like
it runs well. It runs really well. I had that 2-month trial thing they offered.
Yeah, I
And,
mean, I did.
yeah, it's
I did the beta with Odyssey, and I thought that it was really impressive. But yeah, if you're playing everything through Stadia, you're gonna run through data caps pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, we don't have them here. We have fair usage policy.
Yeah, we do.
Put it on Switch.
Until we leave
on
that
Switch,
horrible
like,
institution called the European Union. And doing things like instigating policies that protect the environment, working time directives to stop people being overworked. Talking about video games here, you should be working 100-hour weeks. Liam, we were just talking about the best, most entertaining piece of video games media that over the course of the summer, the Google Stadia event that no one watched and no one cares about.
What is Stadia? I've never heard of this.
Liam, I was saying that OTAP admitted that he owned it, so we were on the stream.
I also was subscribed for a while. I played it a couple of times. But what's the point in existing anymore? Like, come September, like it's practically dead on arrival, right?
Because Microsoft are giving away for free.
Yeah, that just reminded me I need to change my background to talk about the Xbox Game Showcase. And since we're talking about OTAPs, he was the one who dropped this in the Discord. So thanks for that.
I love that one.
Okay, that's good.
For anyone listening to the show, it's a picture of 6 PS5s carrying the Series X as if it's a coffin.
Yeah,
and
it's like that Ugandan meme.
Yeah, so the one thing I did find, and again, we were talking about this last week, there are certain instances where I very much want to distance myself from being called a gamer, and the rampant homophobia in the comments on the YouTube stream prior to the event was just obnoxious.
Do deliberate. I'm interested.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I wasn't watching the comments, so I didn't see them.
I automatically always click minimize when.
Yeah, me too.
Like, why allow that chat if you're not going to run any promotions or like, giveaways? Like, because some of the streams have like, oh, use this hashtag and you may be selected to win a certain thing. But if you're not going to, like, why have them on? Because it's so much nonsense over there. Like, you can't follow anything anyway.
What was the reasoning behind the
what would they be
abundant homophobia?
Oh, they were just. It was a lot of people. Someone said they probably are just a bit of a rampant Xbox fan and are too childish and probably stupid to realise that brand loyalty is meaningless. So someone said they quite like the PS5, and then they started calling them a gay station fan. And the Xbox Series X is better than the Gay Station 5. And then that sparked up a load of other people slagging off Gay Station fans. And at that point, I just shut the stream down and thought,
I don't even understand that their insult isn't that good of an insult. Because, I mean, if it was the Gay Station, it would be pretty fabulous, am I
right? Yeah, well, I just what are you hoping to achieve by doing that, other than
nothing.
Just coming across as sounding pathetic and infantile?
I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
With the exception of everybody outside the United States, anybody that's was in the United States on the chat clearly doesn't work a normal job. So
let's hope these were all 13-year-olds. And not
yeah, it's true, because it wasn't as ridiculous time for you guys to actually see it.
Yeah, it was like 9 a.m. Like I was just finishing my emails at work. Like,
This is true. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, does anyone have any initial feelings that they'd like to share about the event overall, the structure?
I'm
and then we'll talk about the individual games.
Yeah, I'm probably the most hyped, I think, out of everybody.
After days of reflection, I'm thinking it wasn't as bad as I thought in my initial impression, if that makes sense. After thinking back and looking through some stuff and thinking about actually what they showed, I'm less down on it than I was immediately after I watched the press conference. If that makes sense.
It was decent. Only that I was expecting them to wow us with certain things, and they just didn't. Like it's not that they were like those things were like, okay, that's great, that's fine. Those things were also underwhelming, and but if you take each game for what it is and look at it separately, like those were good games. I mean, I think like,
no, sorry, but we didn't actually see games. We saw announcements.
Right,
games.
And that was another point I was about to make. Like,
yeah.
Out of the games we've actually seen gameplay from, because many of those reveals were basically conceptual trailers, and that only meant that those games would only be out like in 2 or 3 years, which, what are you doing?
Well, I think this was definitely an improvement over 2 months ago, right? Like 2 months ago,
yes.
like, what the hell 100%. Are you doing? This actually made more sense, and the production values were a lot better.
But then again, sorry, it was a hyping problem, because this event was basically in the same line of events they are trying to make, starting with the previous event. Only that was
we're going to get the thing for me is we're going to have another one.
Yeah, like they hyped it as
you're probably going to have more like free.
More. I think this is going to be the format going forward.
Yeah, they're just going to be like Nintendo Directs.
They just promoted this one. No, this is the real XSX.
It's the real one.
Event, but no, it was still an Xbox games showcase, just like the last one. Only this one had more production values, more games, more announcements, but it wasn't. It wasn't dedicated to next gen. It was, in fact, mostly dedicated to Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea.
No. Yeah, I agree.
No, that's definitely the future.
Saying to people, if you sign up for Game Pass, you can have all of this at launch or for a exclusive period, isn't necessarily a bad thing.
You know what, though? My personal grievance with this event, even though I do agree with Dan and everybody else that I'm more for it. I don't think it was as bad as I initially thought as well.
Mm.
But I think Xbox has a ridiculous problem with messaging. I think it's surprising for them, because they're usually on point with their messaging, but they have a ridiculous problem with messaging, and they also have a ridiculous problem with managing expectations. Like they tell people. They tell people, oh, this is our great big first party blowout. They have Halo on the cover of their event. They're teasing Halo. I expected a little bit more than that one demo. Not to mention, they're like, oh yeah, we'll have third parties there. Okay. Well, if you had just said before the event, oh, everything that's in this event will be available on Game Pass, then people would be like, okay, yeah, cool. Manage expectations. It's going to be maybe some interesting titles, but it's not going to be anything huge third party wise, you know? I don't know. I don't know. For the life of me, they don't just make things more clear.
Can I jump in on that? Because actually, I know they did kind of say Xbox Series X at the end, said in it, but I think if they'd got it, like they love the world premiere, so why don't they just put in big letters Xbox Series X exclusive? Because it wasn't until after the event they said, "Oh, that will be exclusive. That will be exclusive." It's like, well,
they did say it during the event.
But I know they did say it, but I don't think it was messaging.
But,
I was just on the messaging. It wasn't as clear cut watching it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was not so afterwards. I go, oh, that was actually was in it, but I feel like I had to like look for it. It wasn't like I was like, oh, that is actually coming up next gen. I feel like if they were a bit more clearer on that, it would have been better.
That's not the messaging problem. Is that they said that everything would run on Xbox One, and then it's like, oh, well, that's an Xbox Series X exclusive. So you're going. I mean, I'm glad they're doing that, but it's confusing messaging yet again.
Yep. I'll save my highlight of the show and my overall grade for the end. So
should we go through the rundown of games?
Let's click off where the whole thing kicked off. Who's a Halo fan here?
Moderately.
Okay, I think it's a mundane fucking shooter, and nothing they showed me has convinced me otherwise.
What was the last Halo game you played?
4.
Oh,
I liked 4.
Sorry. Oh,
it was.
I hate 4.
It's not the best in the series, but I mean, it's a decent game.
Go here, shoot stuff, press button. Go here, shoot stuff, press button. Go here, shoot stuff. You've unlocked something else. Press button.
Have you played any other Halo games?
The first one.
Okay.
Halo
4 is not a good example for the franchise.
I don't care. You've made your impression on me. Thanks very much. And it's all well and good. 343 saying that this is the most ambitious game and it's twice the size of the last 2 Halo games. Yeah, but if it looks like an up-res version of Halo Combat Evolved, it's not really going to grab anyone. And I just looked at it and thought, this is your flagship game?
They were trying to play the nostalgia card. Like, look how much things have changed. But I have so many issues with how.
Were you guys shocked how poorly the graphics looked, like the facial animation? I just felt like it wasn't as high end as I was expecting it to look.
Well, it's gonna
maybe I completely misjudged it. What did you think?
The close up of the bad guy at the end looked like it was made out of plastering.
Because I know you're up on this, so I want to know what you thought. Because obviously, I'll be honest. Disclaimer: I've never played a Halo game. I don't expect ever to play one. I might play it on Game Pass, this new one. Who knows? But so I just want to ask you what you thought.
Trying to move the show along like he hosts it.
I love Halo. Sorry, Matt. I'll let you go first.
To me, it looked more like classic Halo, which is what they've gotten away from with 4 and 5. So, I mean, to that end, I think that it was effective and it's going to do what it's set out to do, which is rekindle that fan base. In terms of how it looks, I didn't think that it was that bad. I rewatched the trailer again, and the gameplay segments. And I don't know where some of the screenshots are coming from. Like, I didn't see that in the gameplay. So I don't know.
Are you saying that certain images online are being disingenuously doctored to serve people's own agenda? Because I can't believe that would happen on the internet.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but yeah.
I personally thought the game was pretty ugly.
It doesn't look next gen, I don't think.
Well, that's the problem. If you remember that trailer they debuted a few years back when they first announced the game, when they showed off the Slipspace engine, they were like, "Oh wow, this trailer is gorgeous!" Like, look at all of this beautiful graphics. Look at this environment. Like, you expect the game to at least look that good on the next generation of hardware. Why is the game looking worse than it looked last year on a new piece of hardware? It's not run on Xbox One anymore. They're supposed to be showing off the Xbox Series X version. It's supposed to be the next generation. Why does it look so much worse than it looked 2 years ago?
I don't know.
I don't know if anyone ever seen this. There's this mod for GTA 5 that puts all these tall trees all over the map, like supposedly making it more realistic, that it has more trees in it, and like these trees are placed so randomly and so out of place. Like, you can see how the earth actually goes from earth directly to tree, and it's so immersion breaking. Like I felt the same way when I looked at the trees in the reveal. Like they were just there, like put by hand. Like there was nothing going on. So my disappointment with how it looked is that you expect these worlds to feel even more believable. Like, okay, you understand the limits of past hardware, of how things are functioning on those platforms, and then you've seen it with other games. Look at the latest Ratchet and Clank trailer, like what they showed. Like I'm not saying it should look that pretty, but at least in the first section in the jungle area, like so many plants, so many trees, so much variety of objects scattered around all over the place. And then you show Halo, which is meant to be the next big thing. Like it has to be impressive. No, it hasn't.
Come on. I think we're being too down on this game because you can power slide a warthog. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I know you don't. I actually did like that bit, to be fair. I was like, that's awesome. You could like power slide around the corner.
I looked at past Halo games, and like Halo games usually have this floaty feeling about them. I'm playing for the first game now, and I could see it has more animations, it has more weight to it, so it will definitely play better. But it didn't feel like a full effort going forward, because although I'm not a Halo fan, I've been following its evolution, and there was a time when it was like this revolutionary franchise and it was at the top of its genre, but so many things like left it behind with how they innovated the genre on their own, and this is not doing it. And if they didn't show enough of it for us to be impressed, like why don't show that in this first showing? Why choose these instead?
One thing that I found quite immersion breaking was the sound effect for when your shield recharges.
Oh, people love that sound effect. It's like it's a nostalgic thing. Like that is something from the original game that you take that away, people will scream at them.
I just
can I make it? I was quite sad that it started with a Halo Infinite press X or whatever the button was to start demo. And obviously it's not ready to be released to the public. But if it was, that would have been awesome them to go at the end of the conference last thing, you can now log on and play the demo on your Xbox or on Game Pass. Like otherwise, why have that screen? I feel like that screen wasn't necessary. Maybe to show in-game footage, but I don't know. I just was like, why does it say
I wouldn't
demo?
expect them to release a demo of that size during the pandemic anyway.
No, I'm sure they wouldn't, but I just thought it was a weird screen. Even
one thing I did actually think was
better,
quite interesting.
But you said demo, I just thought it was a strange use of.
Well,
one thing I did
it's
think
a
was quite...
callback to the original game. That I think that's why they wanted to show it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. This is why I've said it. Okay.
Some of the contextual language that the enemies were coming out with. So, one of the grunts was just shouting out, "There's someone here just driving around," as you were power sliding around in the warthog. And as you're fighting some of the enemies, they'll shout out random things, but they're slightly contextual. But then it totally broke it for me when you threw a sticky grenade at one of the big brute characters that I can't remember the name of, and he's slagging you off and then not realizing that he's got a sticky grenade stuck to him. And he was looking at Master Chief, and Master Chief threw the sticky grenade at him that landed on him. He said, "I'm going to break you," and then the grenade goes off.
Well, the best we've had it was with The Last of Us 2, where the NPCs have like all these complex interactions between them and all these dialogue lines. And while it should be the standard for next gen, I still don't think I still don't see many companies like putting that much effort into this. So I don't know, like.
Well,
probably
the difference would be the difference would be is it doesn't have to be dramatic, but just as long as it's implemented cleverly and without it seeming like it's somewhat confusing. So playing Ghost of Tsushima earlier on today, I killed 4 Mongols in a fight, and the 5th one just dropped his swords, fell on his backside, and then crawled away, and then just got up and ran.
Yeah.
So that
cool.
made me feel, as a player, rewarded for being a badass samurai. Whereas in that one, I can throw a sticky grenade at a giant grunt, and he's not going to realise, and he's just going to start slagging me off until the grenade blows up in his face.
I've got to come back on you a little bit for this, because honestly, for years, Halo's been known for having notoriously brilliant AI. Like the NPCs in Halo are like really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think contextually, like it within the universe, it kind of makes sense as to why that NPC in particular didn't shrug off the grenade like any other person. They're like a clan of berserkers, essentially. They're like freaking crazy. Like they'll come at you even if he has a grenade on him. He don't care. He doesn't care if he dies. He's just gonna scream at you, battle cry.
I didn't really. Yeah.
No, yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know enough about the franchise to.
Yeah. If it was a different type of enemy, he probably would have more of the reaction you were expecting.
Oh, cool.
If the other games are anything to go by.
So yeah, wow, Halo Infinite.
I think it looks more like a return to.
I think from what you're saying, Matt, I think that's what it needed. I think 4 and 5, from everything I've read and everything, it kind of lost its way. So maybe that return to the original 3 trilogy is a good step for the franchise.
That's what it looks like
to the fans
to me.
and everything else. So
yeah,
something that would impress me, because I thought of it the other day, was okay. This one is open world now, and I don't know if this happened in any other game, even if it was like sectioned maps, but how. I think it would be quite cool for them to come out and say, like, see this ring, you can actually travel from one point to the other, to the same point. Like, you can go full circle on this ring. So that would be impressive. Like, wow, because you've got this, like, so far in video games, like you've got like this huge map and you can go all over the place, but actually seeing the map, like. Looking
up and seeing space on 2 sides and atmosphere above your head.
That would be cool. That would be like, okay, I can understand maybe certain graphical limitations this is having, because you're loading this big circle in real time and you can go wherever. So
like an actual world. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But then again, why not show that? Like, because usually all big game reveals do that. Like, this is a huge map, and you can like see that thing over there. You can go there, and like every game that is as ambitious as to have like this big world would point it out in its gameplay reveal.
Well, this is one thing that I'm really enjoying about Ghost of Tsushima, because I was wandering around the map, and then I saw this little outcrop of rocks in the ocean. I thought, I bet there's something cool there. Figured out how to get there, and there was something cool there. So if there's those kinds of things, if you can actually go off the beaten path and it's not just a linear shooting gallery for you to press a button, I think I'd be a bit more interested. But what they showed was linear shooting gallery, Master Chief press button.
Yeah, it'd be nice to find something else other than enemies.
I mean, that's the campaign, though. Like, that's, it's the same thing with Call of Duty.
I think to defend it as well, they wanted to show the action.
But the stories in Call of Duty and the action, they're more likely shorter, so they can be more bombastic. If you take a directorial stance of, if we want to be like Call of Duty, we make this an 8-hour to 10-hour campaign, and we just have it like a fucking Michael Bay movie, or you have open world and you pace the story differently. But I don't know. The thing I keep coming back to is, would I play it if I had Game Pass? Yes, I probably would. Would I pay full price for it? No, I fucking wouldn't.
Well, I think okay. So to get on to the other games, so that we're not just shitting on Halo the whole time. I think
there's loads of other stuff we can shit on.
Yeah, that should be the that should be the thing that we focus on though, because that was the thing that they really brought up was the fact that you can play all these on Game Pass. So if you spend your $15 a month, no matter what you have, an Xbox One, a Series X, or a PC. You're going to be able to play all this stuff.
As long as it's first party, you don't have to ever worry they are taking it out of the catalog.
Right.
Games.
Should we move on to the next game that was shown?
Yeah.
That was State of Decay 3. Was next up?
Well, it's just a CG concept trailer with a screaming deer. Thanks, move on.
Are we following the document or the
Undead Labs made the State of Decay 3 after they did State of Decay 2? What? I'm shocked.
Yeah, that was quite soon.
I mean, it's
haven't made in the process.
And it's still very early in development from what they've said afterwards as well. So, yay, great. I can't wait to wait years for this.
Yeah, and this is what, when I was watching this, I kept thinking about the Devolver Digital press conference, talking about the future's future.
Yeah.
so this was definitely the future's future. So here's get hyped for stuff that you can't play for years.
It's exactly what they made fun of.
Yeah. Right, so what was next on the rundown? Because we've got the list of all the games, but
Forza Motorsport
did look very pretty, like all Forza. Like all Forzas do.
I really like the look of this game. Actually, I thought it looked good.
Yeah,
I do think Gran Turismo looked a lot better though.
I've always been a Gran Turismo fan. I've never really gotten into the Forza series, but I've got Game Pass, so I'm gonna play it.
Yep.
I'm actually of the opposite mind. I think that looked better than what they showed for Gran Turismo, although that Forza was only an in-engine trailer, but I thought that there was like more texture to it, whereas
I thought it looked nicer.
In Gran Turismo was like really, really clean, and we'll have to see, but that looked really, really good.
And then Rare's Everwild.
I really like the look of this.
Yeah,
me too.
It looked really interesting.
I really want to play this game.
But it depends what it is. Because
we don't know what it is, but it looked interesting.
I can easily stop caring about
it. This would have been my favorite thing at the show, but I'm just so cautious about it because they said it's very early in development and they don't even know how the gameplay systems work
yet. It could be a card game.
No.
And I'm just like, was this even in game? Like, was this just a conceptual trailer for what you were aiming for? I'm just not sure, and I just don't trust it. And it annoys me more because I'm very interested in this game. It looks so good.
Yeah, no, I really like the look of it. That was really up my alley.
I mean, you see a game like that and you wish it would be open world because you want to explore it. But if it's not, then it's a shame. Like,
it's kind of like
Matt is sat like a coiled spring. Waiting for the Outer Worlds Peril on Gorgon.
Well, yeah, that's the first of 2 story DLCs we're getting for the Outer Worlds. Super excited for that. That's going to be more of the same. I'm just happy, you know.
Have you got to play through?
Is it free on Game Pass, or you have to pay? You get the original game on Game Pass, and then you have to pay for the DLC.
I think it's going to be on Game Pass. That was
if it's in that event, it should be free on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or at least a timed exclusive.
Yeah.
And I can't remember for that one because I fell off the Outer Worlds hard.
I'm surprised.
Same.
And then after the Everwild, it was Tell Me Why, Chapter 1 from Don't Nod,
which
comes out on the 27th of August.
Don't Nod make episodic story-based.
Yep.
I think at this point, this is hurting them. This is hurting them, like whoever is going to do episodic games, because people will just wait for all of them to launch. And
well, unless you've got Game Pass and you've got nothing to play.
Yeah.
But then if you've got Game Pass, you've got hundreds of games to play.
Yeah, good point.
Good point.
But if it only takes you 2 or 3 hours to get through the first episode or whatever. Then just download
But
it, play it in a night, and
there's
you're
this
done.
culture of binging things, so you don't want to like finish that in 3 days to wait like 4 or 5 months before you get the second episode.
I don't know, but if you've got other stuff to keep you busy in between,
Yeah.
Well, the second and third episodes already have dates in September, so
Yeah, they do.
don't have long to wait. I think they're 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know the dates. I
Hmm.
was going off other games released similarly.
Well, it does pose the question why they don't just release it all at once.
Yeah, then like
Well,
if they're
nice.
so close together, why?
Yeah, if you are selling them piecemeal, you hold back that content to charge people
Right.
additional purchases for the
EA
content.
tactic.
well, I think
Um,
I think the free episode 1 seems to have worked out well, right? For Life is Strange 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't work out so well for Mario Run.
Well, I bought Mario Run, but that's me.
Yeah, same. Right.
What
I
was
think
next on the rundown?
Grounded Out.
Now this
I quite.
It's just grounded.
grounded.
Oh, so Grounded. Sorry. I misread my thing. Grounded. Sorry.
This was one of the funnier presentations that kind of rescued the overall conference, really, from being pretty flat across the board. So this had my favorite moment of the conference, which is, if you're looking for the biggest game of the year, you're waiting for Cyberpunk. Which I thought was great. But if you're looking for the smallest, you've got Grounded. And then you can play a survival horror game with your friends or feed them to the spiders.
Yeah, that was good. No, I did like this. This is out in a couple of days. So I might actually pick this up on Game Pass on my PC if it's there. Because I'm actually quite interested about this game.
I don't want to get anyone get confused. I'm not playing it, but I just thought that was funny.
Oh no, I'd quite like to give it a go.
You're
If it's
not,
free,
not
why not?
a
Yeah,
fan of-
Not
it
losing
looked
anything.
interesting.
Not a fan of Honey, I
Come on,
Shrunk the
give it a go.
Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's a cool concept.
That's what I felt like. This was just.
I think there will
in game
be.
form.
I think we'll be finding like
They just couldn't get the license.
Game.
Well, and for anyone thinking what the hell are they talking about, who might be young and listening to this and thinking, I'm not listening to these old fuckers anymore. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was a film, probably before you were born, and it was a fun family film, which you don't normally get anymore.
Starring Rick Moranis.
Rick
Yeah,
Moranis.
Moranis. I loved all his films. He's just he's so ridiculous.
Right, I've moved on to double hopped Citra IPA, which is again very fruity, but it's slightly more bitter, more hoppy, obviously because it's double hopped. Yeah. Exclusive to Monks and Spencers. But it's very good.
Interesting that Grounded is coming from Obsidian.
Yeah,
Obsidian been very busy.
Yeah,
they've been producing a lot of stuff.
Can we please talk about the other thing they're up to?
Yeah, that's the next game. After
was the next
Grounded,
game.
And actually, it's quite funny during the reveal. Everyone was like, "It's the new game," and then it was like Grounded, and then was like, "Is this the new game?"
I know. I was like, is it April 1st? And I'm just not aware.
Avowed. I think.
Yeah, and that was it. It was a very nice CG trailer, and someone told us a bit that they're happy about making a game. Great.
It was it was amusing at the end of the CG trailer how there's this silhouette of a monster like coming out of the cave, and then right before seeing the monster, it cuts, and I thought like, okay, they didn't have enough time to show to finish the monster or to make one. So yeah, that's
it wasn't foreshadowing at all. They just ran out of time.
Yeah. It was like finish that CG trailer.
But yeah,
I
but
quite like the look of it. I know it's a CG trailer, but I like the idea of the concept, and I think it hopefully should be quite good. They're a well-trusted studio.
When we've got more to think about it, I'll think about it. Right now, I'm not going to be
Yeah,
I'm not going to be. I'm not that kind of person anyway. I'm normally a cynical
Keith,
bastard.
if you're ever like that, I don't know what it is, but I'm excited for whatever that is.
I mean, I am excited for it just on the basis of the pedigree behind it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, and
Me
also
too.
the fact that this game is the reason that Microsoft bought them in the first place.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah,
auctioning it around to various different publishers, and Microsoft saw this game and were like, "Okay, we're just going to buy them."
This
And they
this
were
is
like,
the big
"Oh,
dogs.
okay."
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be the case, but my hope is that it is
Good.
Skyrim with the Pillars of Eternity, and Tyranny dialogue system.
That's
that'd be
precisely what I'm hoping for.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
If you've got like the sprawling dialogue and you can make decisions that affect the world, and you can do it in first person, I'm super excited for that.
Don't go really high fantasy like Lord of the Rings or something. Might be really good.
Yeah, which I think they probably will. So
I prefer science fiction to fantasy. So
I do too, but I'm still excited for it.
No, I'm excited
From
for this
these
game.
guys, I don't mind. I feel like they're always at their best when they're.
It seems
doing
like it's a
fantasy.
while away, so it could be potentially when I actually buy
A Series
an
X.
Xbox, maybe for this, because I'm not going to buy it in. What I would say about this conference, we haven't got it all through, but it hasn't convinced me to buy one in November. I'll be honest. But
well, it entirely depends because it's this is a different subject, but it depends on the price and what's bundled in terms of the subscriptions for me. Because if I can hold off 2 years and pick up a PS5, and I've got a discounted backlog of PS5 games, which is what I did with my PS4, I might think about doing that, and then I'll just play all of the third-party stuff on Microsoft, and then I've got all the free shit that I can get through a Game Pass subscription.
Or you probably won't have to shell out any significant amount of money for the new system. You'll just spend $45 or $50 a month, and you'll get the system and Game Pass and Live and Gold and
yeah, if they do that, yeah, just pay monthly for everything.
right.
Rent,
I mean, if you could go to the store and plop down, okay, here's my $50, and I get 100 games and the new system, like that's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, if anyone was going to do that, it would be Microsoft.
I would be tempted.
It would just be really nice to be told that's what they're doing. I
It
don't
would
know,
be,
just
yeah.
just on the
No, I
off chance
agree.
that they might actually tell people how you can fucking buy one of these things.
Matt, if they did do that, Matt, I would probably be buying a PlayStation 5 and that in November. If I could pay monthly £50, I probably would buy both.
They already can to a certain degree.
I know you can. There is certain schemes. I know that, Liam.
You're too late.
One
You're
last
too
year,
late
but I
to
was too late
sign up for that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I still think it's funny. Like
my colleague did that for her son. She was going to get him an Xbox, and I said, "Well, if you sign up for this, he'll get the free upgrade in a year's time." So that's what they did.
You just need to
The
be
only-
patient. It'll happen in August. You'll find out all of this.
I'm sure we will. So the next game was As Dusk Falls.
I'm
trying to figure out what this is.
I'm kind of interested just based on the setting.
Yeah,
it's an interactive.
Is it kind of like Until Dawn? That's what I kind of got a feeling. It's kind of like Until Dawn, interactive drama. You'll be a bit of gameplay, but mainly conversational. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the art is pretty, but
I don't think it's gonna look like that potentially.
I think it does. I hate it.
I think
I thought it was disgusting.
all the game, the entirety of the game.
I don't want to play a game that looks like a graphic novel when I could just fucking read the graphic novel.
No.
Like, it looks nice, but why can't they just fully animate it? Like, just go there. If you're going to tell a good story that needs to be told in this medium, animate it.
That's fair.
Don't make a glorified graphic novel for me to watch on my television. I could just read
that might just be the concept, the trailer for them setting the story. That could just be the story trailer. Which is why I say I don't know what this. I don't know how this is actually going to work. Is it a slightly better looking version than The Walking Dead from Telltale.
If the entire here's the thing, I'm as an artist, I'm a bit conflicted about this game. If the entire game is going to look like that, we can all agree how much effort they put into this to look as realistically possible, and all these paintings look almost traced. I'm not saying they did that. I would be very impressed if they didn't. But it's you're going for painted realism, and why not just use other? I don't know. It seems a bit pointless to me to do something like this. So yeah, maybe we just need to see more of it. Maybe it's something completely different. Which is also weird. If it was something else, why not show what it is first?
I found it funny that they're ex-Quantic Dream devs. And it's these people have left Quantic Dream because they're all about technology. They never shut up about technology, and they take ages to develop their games because of all the technology they put into them. And these guys are just fucking allergic to technology. Let's put as little technology into this game as possible.
Yeah.
And then next was, there's one screenshot of Iceland and one screenshot of a face for Senua Saga Hellblade 2, set in Iceland. Did anyone watch the developer diary after the show?
No.
Did anyone see anything about that? So,
no.
Because apart from that, there was nothing apart from that. So I didn't know if there was more information.
They're excited to be making it. They're glad people bought the first one and liked the first one. Thanks. Great. Move on.
Thanks for telling us and not showing us.
Thanks for telling us that you appreciate people buying your game.
And then next was the game that is it ever going to come out? Psychonauts 2. I feel like I've been watching trailers and things for this game for about 7 years. It's not that long. But
it was going to come out, but then they realised that the person they had singing that song wasn't Jack Black, so they had to get Jack Black into the studio. And the calendars didn't meet up, so Psychonauts got delayed by 6 months, so that they could get Jack Black to sing that one song.
I think part of it was them getting purchased.
Yeah, definitely.
They've increased the scope and the amount of content in the game overall because of Microsoft.
They've increased the amount of Jack Black by 100% from pre-purchase, and this shit takes time. I mean, Jack Black getting on board takes time. He had to grow the beard first because he didn't want to do the song without the beard because he thought it was more in character.
I was watching the event live with Liam, and he got me excited. This is what was the name of that game?
Well, I saw Jack Black and I immediately got super excited because I thought it was a sequel to Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend. Yeah,
game starring him. So I was a little bit disappointed. But,
yeah.
This is completely slightly off topic, but didn't they first show Psychonauts 2 on a Sony stage? I know they ended up getting bought by Microsoft.
Yeah, because
I'm sure they did. When they first revealed they were making it, he came on the Sony, one of the E3 Sony.
Is it not? He was saying it was going to release, it was going to be multi-platform, and there was.
Yeah, but Dan's right because they did the Psychonauts and the Rhombus of Ruin for PSVR. And that was a lead-in to, hey, by the way, guys, we're making a proper sequel.
Yeah, I remember. It was the same, wasn't it the same year they had the orchestra playing God of War? That's
yeah,
how many years ago was that? 3 years ago.
4 years?
Maybe, every game there has now been released except for Psychonauts 2.
Right.
A few more years and we're going to see it in a Nintendo Direct.
Next was Stalker 2. Where, I think on Mitch's poll, one person said, yes, Stalker 2, that's all I need, which I thought was quite hilarious because I watched it with Mitch. So,
what is an acronym for?
I don't know. There's dots in between the words.
I don't remember that many letters.
I've never played the other one, so.
Yeah.
No, neither have I, so I'm more interested in understanding why Stalker is written like an acronym.
I used to watch some playthroughs of it on YouTube, and it was a pretty awesome game from what I remember. So I am automatically interested in this one.
Yeah, it was a well-received game back in the day. Like everyone was talking
Was it on?
about it.
Was it on Xbox 360?
No, just PC.
Yeah.
Oh, PC. Oh, okay. That's why. Okay. Interesting.
I'm pretty sure. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it had like a very large modding community, and there's a few game franchises that literally spawned from the first game.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they
cool.
were, but I'm pretty sure there's a few successful franchises. That
So there'll
came
be a
out
lot
the
of
first game.
people out there who were waiting for this second game then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Okay, interesting. Cool. And then Warhammer 4K Dark Tide, which
40K.
looks very similar to the other 40K. Sorry, yeah, 40K. It looks very similar to the last Warhammer 40K game. I can't remember what that was called. Vermintide.
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar.
Vermintide. Yeah. Was that Xbox exclusive? Yeah.
No,
Vermintide? No,
exclusive.
it's on everything.
Timed exclusive. Okay.
Yeah.
Timed exclusive. And then the Gunk. Gunt. G-U-N-T.
The Gunk. Yeah.
The
That
Gunk.
should be good. It's from.
I found out what Stalker is an acronym for: scavengers, trespassers, adventurers, loners, killers, explorers, robbers.
Wow.
But it's not. That's not an acronym.
No, it's not a proper.
So it's just what.
Yeah.
So as opposed to those being full stops, they should be commas.
Yeah.
Because it's a.
That's
that's another reason that game's going to be trash. There you go. They can't even get the grammar correct because that's not.
Imagine someone calling it by its real name, like saying all those words.
Imagine that was on the box.
Two.
There wasn't a dots, it's just that on the box. There was just those like words. There you go. Buy that. Two.
Sounds like a brainwashing code.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at the synopsis on Wikipedia. Is a series of first-person shooter survival horror. No, is that right? That's me gone. As soon as they say survival, no.
I think it sounds quite intriguing, Stalker 2, to be fair. I didn't play the first one, but I'd be interested to see what the second one's when they actually see something of it.
Survival, anything. I don't have time to babysit my fucking character to make sure that it's got enough sleep and food and water and let me play the goddamn game.
The next game I am actually the most intrigued about and actually will probably want to play the most.
Fancy
Star Online 2.
Oh.
No, the medium.
No, you guys, we didn't let Raph talk about the game. Which is his game of the show.
You want to talk about the Gunk Graph? Sorry, buddy. What do you want to say about the Gunk?
Personally, that was the highlight of the show for me, the Gunk, because it's Imagine and Form first 3D game. So they expanded to the point now that now they are doing 3D games. And for those who don't know, Imagine and Form, they are doing those 2D Steam games. It's actually a series.
SteamWorld.
SteamWorld. You got SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Quest, SteamWorld Heist, all those little nice games that are so fun to play. And I'm really eager personally to see how their knowledge of game design will be applied within a 3D world. So we see there's like this mechanic going on with them. Like you've got some liquid or some fluids that you use some sort of vacuum, kind of like you do in Luigi's Mansion. So yeah, I'm having my eyes on that. Yeah, I didn't expect that.
I'm much more interested now because I didn't know that it was the same developer. So I guess partially because it doesn't have that same style.
Yeah, like it was.
I totally forgotten about Gunk. Actually, it's not kind of something that I spend time thinking about. Normally when people talk to me about Gunk, it's I need to clean the plug hole or something like that.
Just correcting myself in case I spelled it right. I may have said Imagine and Form. It's Image and Form. The studio.
It's one of the more interesting games they showed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually my criticism of the event as a whole. I thought the indie games were very lacking. I thought this was the only standout to me. Like, I thought this one looked great, but the rest looked a bit uninteresting. Oh, that voxel game was all right, but
that too. What was it called?
I'm not sure if it was on the list. I can't remember.
Was that in the pre-show? Or was it actually in the show?
Oh, maybe it was in the pre-show.
Maybe it was in the pre-show.
And this is something else. Don't show stuff in the pre-show. It's pre.
Do you mean the Halo? No, not Halo Neighbor 2. Halo Neighbor 2?
No, man.
No, there's a
voxel. No. So voxel. In the pre-show there was Echo Generation, Halo Neighbor 2.
I think it was Echo Generation.
Echo Generation, yeah. And then there was Balan Underworld as well.
Wonderworld.
Wonderworld, so not Underworld, Wonderworld.
It's a very different game.
I get annoyed with pre-shows. Don't have them. Either
it was terrible and boring anyway. So.
Yeah, he didn't miss much.
Don't have them. Just cram stuff in. Just if you're gonna have this massive showcase of games, make it a massive showcase of games. Don't have a pre-show for it.
Just make it 2 hours long.
It's entirely unnecessary.
Well, Liam, to be fair, those 3 announcements took about 5 minutes. They could have just added 5 minutes on within the conference and got those in.
But that's the thing about this pre-show in particular is it had nothing to do with Microsoft. It was organised by Jeff Keighley.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was a Summer Games pre-show. It wasn't an Xbox pre-show.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it just happened the games they showed off were Xbox games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff asked Xbox, can I have something to do for a pre-show so people will watch my YouTube channel? Yeah. And they gave him a load of gumph.
Yeah, but he's asking for the trimmings on the end of the turkey. You know?
Yep. Yeah. And then the medium, which I actually was probably the most. I think this is the game I'm probably most intrigued to play and want to play out of all the games so far.
This is the most interesting game they showed.
Two aspects of the same thing. Looks really cool. As I said, we didn't see enough of it. Bear in mind that it's supposed to be coming out and launch. Is that correct? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Game. So launch game. So I feel like they could have showed us more of this, but.
How does it exactly play? Like you have at all times two screens and you move the character in the same time?
I don't think it's all the time. I think there are certain scenarios where you'll be in one dimension or the other, or the character will be existing in both simultaneously, and you'll need to look for gameplay cues across both sides of the screen. So if you've only got one eye, probably not so good for you.
That's kind of like Silent Hill.
Yeah.
It's got the composer for Silent Hill.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's got the same composer.
It looks a little bleak for me.
Was this game announced at their previous event?
It was. This was one of the ones they carried forward.
Okay. Then that's interesting.
They showed the story trailer last time. They showed can you call it a gameplay trailer? I don't know.
A few shots of in-game. I think a few shots of in-game, potentially.
That's quite a long title. This is a few shots of in-game footage trailer.
Anyway, I thought they could have shown more as the launch title. I don't know. I feel like they're not really. I don't think you're right. I think they really are all about Game Pass. It didn't seem like they wanted to sell me an Xbox Series X with this show. They just wanted me to sell me a Game Pass subscription on whatever I could run that game on Game Pass.
Which is Microsoft's core model as a business anyway. They're a service industry. They're not really a hardware industry.
So.
We're getting on to the big guns now.
Next was the game that Keith jumped the gun with.
Phantasy Star JRPG bullshit.
I'm actually really interested in New Genesis. So I've played a bit of PSO2. That was one of the reasons that I got an Xbox, was because I could play Phantasy Star Online 2. The problem with Phantasy Star Online 2 is the fact that there are, 6 or 7 systems that have been built up on top of each other over time that we here in the Western world have completely missed out on unless you were one of those people that downloaded the Chinese version that had some English text and was able to VPN into Japanese servers to play. So if you're just playing Phantasy Star Online 2 for the first time on your Xbox, it's extremely daunting because you have to learn so much shit to get into it. New Genesis looks better. Seemingly is going to solve a lot of the problems that PSO2 has in the Western world. I'm excited for it, and I get to carry my character over, which is very cool.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Does the base game of Phantasy Star Online 2 look that good? Because I thought, oh wow, that looks really good for an MMO, visually, you know?
No, so that's one of the other things that they're doing is they're going to implement a graphics overhaul on the existing game along with the release of New Genesis.
It did look nice.
That's awesome. That's something World of Warcraft should have done years ago.
Well, they did. I mean, they've been slowly upgrading the graphics, but
World of Warcraft looks a lot better than it. World of Warcraft looks a lot better than it did at launch. I know you haven't noticed, but it does because
I know what you mean, but it could still look a hell of a lot more.
Oh yeah, 100%. But they want it to run on everything, so that's why they don't.
Yeah.
Like any PC
Upgrade
can
your
run
PC,
that.
you losers.
I know. And then it was Crossfire X from Remedy. Any interest?
Yeah, I'm super into that.
That did look quite good, isn't it? It did look way better than Halo.
Have you played
it
did. Because I know it's been out, but not in this capacity. So, has anyone played it?
No.
Doesn't. So what's the deal with this? Because I know there's the multiplayer is already available.
It's not already available. No. The original game, Crossfire, and Crossfire 2 are available. This is basically Crossfire X as they port pretty much all of the maps over into this game and give them visual improvements.
Isn't it out on beta?
Oh, maybe. It might be in beta.
Because I feel like
open beta, is it?
I feel like I've seen,
it looked good. It looked good.
I feel like I've seen stuff advertised either on the Microsoft Store page or when I boot up my Xbox and go into the store, like getting it early or something like that. I haven't been too keen on it because it just seems like another FPS to me. But
I'm not interested in the multiplayer. I mean, it's just a glorified version of Counter-Strike. But I thought the campaign looked super awesome and interesting in that way that most Remedy games are. So I didn't realize how big of a project it was for Remedy. So
actually,
but I got pissed off afterwards when they said that essentially they were like, oh yes, Crossfire X's multiplayer is free to play. And they're like, yes, so does that mean the campaign will be in Game Pass since it was in that conference? Like, oh no, the campaign won't be in Game Pass. No. I was like, oh, okay, that's great then. It's like the only game in the entire show that isn't on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit annoyed.
Actually, you telling me that it's like Counter-Strike, I'm probably going to definitely check it out after we get off here.
Yeah, it's basically the Chinese version of Counter-Strike because the Chinese couldn't get Counter-Strike over there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they could, and then it got scrapped because when I was living there, every single computer center, every single person was playing Counter-Strike. They might have been on some dodgy servers, but they were there. But they did get scrubbed at one stage. I think when they scrubbed Facebook, so like in 2010, 11, they lost a lot of that kind of stuff.
It's always more fun to play things you banned from playing.
Yeah, of course. And then the announced trailer for Fable. A frog eating a fairy.
We'll see you guys in 5 years.
Yep. It was reminding me of the not Skyrim one, reminded me of the Elder Scrolls one from the Bethesda where they just showed you a banner. Like, there it is.
It reminded me of the Fable 3 trailer that announced the game way back when.
Oh, yeah.
It's practically exactly the fucking same. It's like, oh, great, the new generation of Fable, except it's the exact same trailer I saw in 2007.
I'll have to.
I feel like
I'll have to look it up.
I feel like they did that just to gauge response. I don't even think they're actually working on the game. They're probably just
they are. They've been working on it since 2018.
No way, really?
Yeah.
They should have had more by now.
It's in full development. I think it'll be out in 2022, probably.
They should have had more to show.
Why didn't they show us more then?
Yeah.
Is it pandemic? Are we blaming the pandemic on this?
I mean, you can to a certain degree, but
I'm into this because it gives me
something.
I
Shrek
feel like
vibes.
could have shown something. They like most of their stuff was CG anyway, so just showing us a CG fairy eating a frog just seemed a bit ridiculous.
I don't know whether you guys have noticed, but part of the reason why I think Sony's so successful, which is ironically because it's kind of a bad thing in a way, is they get their teams to develop like proper vertical slices of their games when they're early in the conceptual phases. And then they usually use those to show off games like Days Gone from years ago and that demo of God of War. Like the game really wasn't in active, proper, full-on development at that point, but they took those conceptual trailers that they were showing around inside the Sony Corporation and repurposed it for a live conference. Microsoft doesn't do that, which I think is something that they should change. Because how the hell are you supposed to get excited for games that you just see in some CGI trailer for?
Right.
Yeah. If they want to compete with Sony, they've got to show these games conceptually, even if they may not reach the heights that they aim for, but it would do a hell of a lot for them in the way of competing with Sony on that sort of premium hardcore game fan.
I think what I'd say about this has made me keep my PC Game Pass subscription for another 6 months. This conference. It hasn't made me want to buy a new console, but it's made me want to keep the subscription. And actually, what we said at the beginning, Matt, was that's what they were trying to sell us, Game Pass, and so they've got my money for another 6 months.
Yep.
So they probably. So I suppose day it was successful.
I was so excited about talking about the Microsoft Game Showcase that I haven't been looking up coggundata.com to find out what are the best attachments for my weapons in Call of Duty Warzone.
And I love this, Keith. You hated it, but yet you're probably still going to buy an Xbox.
At some point.
Oh, okay. Not at launch. Okay. I thought you said you're going to get that for the PlayStation 5.
I don't know, because someone needs to tell me how much this fucking thing's going to cost.
Yeah.
Or if there's a subscription model to buy it. At the moment, all of the things that we're talking about should be getting us excited. And this goes back to why did I buy a PlayStation 4? I bought it for exclusive games. Why did I not buy an Xbox One? Because there were no interesting exclusive games, in my opinion. Is there anything on this showcase that is going to lead me to think, I have to get an Xbox One because I want to play that? No.
The reality.
So then it comes down to a decision of what is the value proposition? Because if I can get third party to games run as well as, if not better, on a Xbox Series X than I can on a PlayStation 5, plus I get all this other stuff rolled in, so that I get all this stuff basically for free, even though it's not for free because I'm paying a low monthly subscription price.
Yeah, you're already paying that for PS Plus, right?
Yeah, so then it becomes more of an issue about, well, I haven't got the PlayStation exclusives that I might really want to play, but some of those are going to be years away anyway. The next full Spider-Man game is going to be at least 2 or 3 years away. The next God of War is going to be at least 2 or 3 years away. Horizon isn't coming out probably until the back end of next year at the earliest. So if I want to play more games and have a wider variety of choice, plus I've got a back catalogue of stuff, I'd be stupid to not think about it as an option.
You're saving so much money in the process while you wait for all the big PS5 exclusives to.
I think for me,
then I can think about buying a TV.
Yeah, and I think for me, the thing is, having all those games is great, but in a realistic sense, I'm having a child in November, so the amount of time I'm going to have to play games is going to be massively reduced. So then, for me, it's like, even if I play a Sony game once every 3 months, I know I'm going to love that game because I have the last generation, so I'm just going to go with the Sony one. Because I'm not going to, even though the backwards is going to be great, I'm going to potentially have ability to play those on my PC. So I think that's why I'm going more PlayStation. And I really want to play Kenner. I know I can play on PlayStation 4, but I've kind of been prepping for PlayStation 5. But you are right. For you, Keith, it makes a lot of sense. I know what you're saying, and that does make sense. But I just think I'm going to have the time to play loads of games. So then I'm going to play.
You see, the question, everything Keith says makes sense, but that's on the basis that before the end of this year, Sony isn't more actively competing with Game Pass, which I think they will. I think they're going to have a major change around of their services and compete directly with them.
I hope so.
I think the only difference is that they'll still sell a lot of their first party games, like God of War and Spider-Man as big premium titles that aren't included.
I'll be completely honest.
It'll be interesting.
If Sony comes out and they say, you know what, all those PS1 classics you bought on your PS3 that you have no access to, you now have access to them on your PS5. I'm gonna buy a fucking PS5.
That's not gonna happen.
I have so many fucking games that I've bought through PSN because they dropped hardware backwards compatibility. So. And when they did that, they introduced the PS1 classics on the store. I started buying those up because I was like, well, I guess it's going to be digital going forward. And then they completely screwed me on it. The one thing that Xbox does offer me is that no matter what, you're going to pay for the subscription and get all these games. Everything that you own, we're going to try to make compatible. And we're working to make that stuff compatible going forward.
And if not optimized.
Matt, what instead if they went kind of Liam's route and all those PlayStation 1 classics were on a Game Pass service on PlayStation? So you didn't own them again, but you were able to play them again. Obviously, you'd still be pissed off, but they would then be available to you to play for free. I mean, on the subscription.
I would do that. I mean, that's part of the reason that I have Nintendo Online for my Switch is because I have access to a bunch of old Super Nintendo and Nintendo games. I
thought you had your Switch so that you could take it to parties,
to rooftop parties,
full circle,
hang out with Karen. No, but yeah, I'm one of those weirdos that bought the special edition Nintendo controllers for my Switch, and the Super Nintendo one, and I think that backwards compatibility is. It should be a feature that more people are concerned with, but I guess I'm in the minority.
I definitely agree. I mean, I still have my PlayStation 3, and I'll keep that until the end of time, just on the basis of how much I own digitally on that thing. I mean, I was subscribed to PlayStation Plus from 2010. The amount of free games I have on that thing, ridiculous.
Yeah, me too, Liam.
Yeah, I would like nothing more than to have access to all of that on the latest hardware, so I can throw the damn thing away.
Right.
Anyone remembers the Instant Game Collection that had 12 exclusives in there?
Man,
I bought my PS3 in 2012, right at it was so close to its death, so to speak, and then I bought PS Plus and I had instantly Little Big Planet, Infamous. All these games, it was wonderful.
Well, as I've been packing up my house, I found all my old consoles, and I've literally got about 30 PlayStation 3 games, all in box, all in prime condition. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with these? So I'm just I'll keep them. Maybe one day they'll be worth something.
Hopefully, before the end of this year, you can sell them, and just sell all of your shit. Clear out, because it's all compatible with the new system. Is that too much stars?
See, I've still got one of the.
If you had to pop the disc in, it should work. I think it's ridiculous. You can't do that.
I've got one of the last iterations of the Xbox 360 in a box, just over that way. Just on the off chance that I want to play the Mass Effect trilogy again. It hasn't happened because I've not got the time to do it, and it's not worth the hassle me getting that fucking thing out of the box and hooking it up. And I've got the Kinect as well, because I was saying to my wife, shall I get rid of all this? Shall I just download the games onto a USB drive? And she said, can you play the Kinect stuff? And I said, no, they're not. That's not going to be backwards compatible. And we had quite a lot of fun playing Connect Sports. So we haven't played it for over a year, but there's still a request there to hang on to it just in case.
Yep.
I think the Connect
So
stuff
if we don't,
is backwards compatible though, because
no, it's not. You
Okay.
can't play because there's no way to
not
plug
with-
the Connect into.
Not
Yeah,
with Series X.
Oh,
Not with Series
It's
X.
compatible to the Xbox One, but not to Series X.
okay.
And I'm
All
not
right.
buying one of those fucking paperweights.
I don't know. I had fun playing through Mass Effect 3 a couple weekends ago.
Yeah, but I didn't have so much fun when I played through it initially because I think at the time we had the Connect hooked up to it, and because it was optimized better with Connect. So my wife would come in and say something like, "What's going on?" And then suddenly all of these people would start shooting off effects all over the screen because it was picking up the wrong thing and saying, "Go over there." Yeah, the Connect was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Are we going to letter grade this?
D.
Oh, the one thing that we didn't talk about is another game that I'm going to play on Game Pass.
Destiny 2.
No, not Destiny 2. Dragon Quest XI.
Tetris Effect.
Oh yeah, Dragon Quest.
And I'm
That's-
going to play it.
That's
I'm going
a
to play
good
it in
point,
2D
actually.
mode.
I will probably play it there as well.
It's
Because
really
I'm not
strange
going to buy it.
how they are enhancing basically the Switch version.
Right.
So it's not the other version that looks better and has better geometry. It's like the Switch version, but at a higher resolution, because what they did for Switch, they also did like in a separate version. So I think it's a ton of work to add all that on top of what they released prior to that, which is interesting.
They should do the work. I just find it lazy, to be honest. You know,
Yeah.
and then charging the exact same amount of money.
No,
You know,
it's
they
gonna
don't
be-
even give existing
40.
owners
It's going to be
like
40.
a discounted. You know,
It's going to be 40 bucks.
You know, they don't even offer like people who have already bought the exact same game, but it's slightly different. So we're charging you full price for it again. You know, it's ever so slightly different.
Isn't an update coming though? Because I know I just said that, but
No, if you own Dragon Quest 11, or is it 11 or 11? If you own Dragon Quest 11, like the port that they gave to PS4 a couple of years ago, you have to rebuy the whole game if you want the Switch goodies, all of the goodies that they put on Switch, which is ridiculous. Yeah, and it's like, and it's a lesser version in some ways because it's not as visually impressive. It's like, just do the fucking work. And if you can't be bothered to do the work, don't do it at all.
They just resell it like Nintendo do. Can we does anyone want to finish off by giving it a letter grade or just say something nice about Ghost of Tsushima? I've never had so much fun following foxes. The animations for the yellow birds isn't terribly great, but I've never had so much fun clearing out bandit camps in an open world game.
I echo those opinions. I've pet my first fox after Keith banging on about it for like 2 weeks now. I pet my first fox, and it
I
was
like the
very
little
rewarding.
double jump thing they do because
For a
they're so
week.
excited after you pet them. It's just so cute. Anyway, Xbox Game Showcase D.
I'll go next. I would have said also a D. I was A after I watched it. Now I've had a few days to think about it. It's gone up a grade D.
I'll give it a D as well, and I'll also say that I'm extremely sorry and I need to apologise to Ghost of Tsushima because I can't play you until I beat The Last of Us Part 2. So it's going to be a while. Yeah.
I can't wait to what you think of this game, Liam, when you finish it. Because you're taking so long.
With me saying, Liam, do you want to shoot some people on Warzone? Do you want to engage in your bloodlust?
Yeah, I played Last of Us. I might get rid of my bloodlust.
Right, Michael.
Yeah.
I gave it a C after right after I finished watching it, and now my impression is a little bit better. Because I settled on my thoughts and now I have a clear vision of what they tried to do and what they ended up doing. So I think it's a C+ now. for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go C plus B minus.
You can only choose one.
B minus. I'm bigger on it than everybody else, but I feel like
Yeah, but that's because you had some kind of raging internal orgasm when there's kind of Obsidian Skyrim game.
that was part of it.
I had that same orgasm.
The other part of it is the fact
What, you
that
had Matt's orgasm
for
no.
for no extra investment on my part, there's a shit ton of games that I get to play.
Yeah, but the reason that I've given it a D is because they haven't told me what it's going to cost me to access that.
Well, they have. Well, I mean, if you just buy a Xbox One X,
it wasn't.
You can't play. You can't play.
It wasn't an event about the hardware. It was about the games.
Yeah, I don't think that's a fair. Like I think it was a freaking awful. Like I don't think it was a good conference.
Sony hasn't given us a price yet either. Like we don't know how much that's going to cost.
They
but
went
games are
in
more interesting.
Like, I just think that was a good example of them setting expectations. They said, we're not talking about hardware here. This is all about the games, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not going to criticise them for something that they said they weren't going to do.
Well, I'm not. I'm just saying if not that anyone gives a shit about my opinion in the games industry anyway. And frankly, I very much doubt that any of you care about my opinion.
We do.
You're just here to indulge in me. If I like the idea of having a Game Pass style subscription, but I don't know how I can access it on the new console and how much that it's going to cost me to do it. And until that time, what they showed is verging from dull, uninteresting up to, yeah, that looks intriguing, but I don't know what it actually is. And that's where I am with Microsoft overall.
I mean, yeah, that's where I am with Sony, you know. The value proposition,
and there's the yin and the yang of the universe.
Yeah, the value proposition that I already have with my Xbox right now is much better than what Sony is offering, and we don't know what either of these consoles is going to cost, which drives me fucking nuts. Like, just give us a goddamn price.
I'm just patient, man. I think I'm a lot more patient than you guys because
not when you get killed in Warzone, you're not.
Yeah, but they killed me, Keith. Like,
I think.
They don't get off lightly for killing me. Like,
yeah, but no, go Dan. I was going to say something about Liam. He could have driven around the map to be able to revive me. Instead, he went to the closest point, saw someone, had to kill them. And at which point he got killed, and then neither of us could have been revived. All he had to do was drive a little bit further around the other way. Both of us would have been fine, but no.
Keith, it's not my fault. He looked at me.
Yeah. No, all I was going to say was I am with Matt. It is very frustrating with someone who's got lots of things to plan for this year, not to have a price. So I know, I can afford that, or I can make saves to afford that. It is very frustrating as a consumer not to know the price, not that many months away. I feel like they should have done this in June. Will probably be August, maybe. Fingers crossed.
Well,
but really, who knows?
It's not that hard. Like, all of the rumors and signs are pointing to both consoles being $500.
Yeah.
You know, just go off the premise.
Oh, that's what I have. I've done 500 quid.
It's not going to be more than that. They would be fucking crazy. Like, so you just save for that, man.
No, I have. Yeah. I have, and if it is more than that, I'm a bit fucked. But
well, if it is a bit more than that, we're probably not going to buy them.
No, exactly.
Gentlemen,
I'll be playing Kenner on PlayStation 4.
Well, there is another console for you. It's called the Switch.
Oh yeah.
Or the Xbox 360.
Well, the Switch does run Crysis.
Sort of.
All right. Should we call it there then, guys?
Yep.
Well,
right.
the thing for me is I can either buy two consoles or I can buy a console and a new TV that will make the games on the console look better.
Look better.
Yeah.
Yep.
The thing with Microsoft right now, if we're looking at it, is that even if it's 2 generations later, and it may be too late for it in terms of like generating excitement. It's only now building a strong portfolio of studios. Like the amount of studios that it now owns, like it's rivaling Sony's. Only that it's going to take so much time to prove itself. I'm already looking at Obsidian as one of the same way as I look at one of Sony's bigger studios. So that's something. So they need to build up the reputation of these studios they just acquired.
I do think with all the studios they've bought, like the next generation Xbox, it's got a lot. Hopefully, if everything goes well and they do develop good games, they've got a good lot of potential. But again, we probably didn't see enough.
I think by the next generation, so the PS6 and the Xbox Z, and that's going to be spelt ZEE. And the best thing to play games on will be Google Stadia. Unfortunately, Google would have shut it down by then.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. Shout out to Ranged Fair, who joined us in the chat. I just now popped in, so I wasn't paying attention, and I apologize to everybody that was trying to interact with us. Ranged Fair and Sino Confectus, or Sign on Confectus. Sin on Confectus? But he was commenting the entire time, or she was commenting the entire time. And even brought up what Stalker, the acronym was supposed to be. So thank you for joining us. We will be back hopefully next week. And on that note, gentlemen, we're out.
I just remembered that I forgot to bring up how that gameplay of the Mafia 1 remake was more exciting to me than any Xbox presentation.
Fun?
The Mafia remake.
Yeah.
Just sent Phil Spencer.
What?
The background was Phil Spencer.
It's amazing.
You didn't realize that?
No.
Amazing.